A very warm welcome to all the participants for this national level webinar on reinventing nanotechnology for the COVID-19. During this pandemic situation have not stopped us for learning new things. We are engaged in different activities and learning the knowledge. In this scenario, our Rayat Shikshan Samsthas, Mahatma Phule, ASC College, Panvel, and Department of Chemistry have organized a national level webinar on reinventing nanotechnology for COVID-19. I request Honorable Principal Dr. Ganesh Thakur Sahib to start this webinar with his presidential address.
At the outset, I pay my tribute to great social reformer and visionary educationist Mahatma Jyotiba Phule and Karmavir Bhaurao Patil for their selfless service to the masses. Dignitaries present online for this national webinar, principals of various colleges in different states of the country, resource person Dr. Anil Palve, vice principals Dr. Adhav and Mr. G.J. Korane, coordinator of Internal Quality Assurance Cell, Mr. Sopan Gove, head of departments, all the participants from Maharashtra and other states of the country, research scholars, and dear students. It is my extreme pleasure to welcome you all on behalf of Mahatma Phule Arts, Science and Commerce College, Panvel, for this national level webinar organized by Department of Chemistry in collaboration with IQAC on the topic Reinventing Nanotechnology for COVID-19. Friends, our college is affiliated to University of Mumbai and is run by Rayat Shikshan Samstha, which is one of the largest educational institute in Asia and celebrated its centenary year to its establishment in 2018-19. The emblem of our Samstha is a banyan tree which indicates its widespread educational wings, having in all 750 branches spread in Maharashtra and Belgaum district of Karnataka. Almost 95% branches of Samstha are located in rural part of Maharashtra and has played a vital role in overall development of Maharashtra. Our founder Bhaurao Paigonda Patil is honored with Padma Bhushan Award from central government and Doctor of Letters degree from Pune University for his outstanding contribution in the national development. Our college was established in 1970 and has completed 49 years with a vision to provide quality education to all classes of the society. We are marching ahead with the same principle to achieve excellence in the field of higher education. Our quest for excellence is reflected through some of our outstanding achievements in the recent past. A grade in third cycle of NAAC accreditation with CGPA score of 3.18. Best College Award from Karmavir Puraskar from Parent Institution. Government of Maharashtra successive prizes in Zagar Janivancha project. ISO 9001-2015 certification from the Accreditation Forum. Our distinctive features are college campus blessed with natural beauty. 80% enrolled students belongs to backward class category, out of which 65 to 70% students belongs to other backward class. Water conservative initiatives through college check dam with capacity of 1 crore liter. PhD Research Center in Chemistry, Hindi and Business Economics. Good number of published patents. Soil Analysis Lab approved by Agricultural Department of Government of Maharashtra. Sophisticated Analytical Instrument Facility at Department of Chemistry. It reminds me a famous quotation of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. The difficulties in the life do not come to destroy you, but to help you realize your hidden potential and power. We worked on the same line, taking into consideration SWOC analysis, that is SWOC analysis. We found that organization of webinars in lockdown period is the best opportunity to bring all academicians and research scholars on the same platform through online mode, which will facilitate the use of technology. Moreover, the webinars also provides an ideal platform to the faculty members to work as a resource person. We successfully organized 9 webinars based on important topic related to COVID-19 pandemic. This is the second national webinar organized by Department of Chemistry. The first webinar was successfully organized on the topic COVID-19 pandemic from chemistry's perspective, and the resource person was our faculty, Dr. Pramod Thakur. With previous experience and confidence, I encourage my talented researcher, Dr. Anil Palwe, who has completed postdoctoral research in USA, to present his topic, Reinventing Nanotechnology for COVID-19 at national level. And he positively responded for the same. Dear academicians, nanotechnology is defined as study and use of structures between 1 nanometer and 100 nanometer size. The term was coined in 1974 by Norio Taniguchi of Tokyo Science University as nanotechnology is the processing of separation, consolidation, and deformation of materials by one atom or molecule. The bulk properties of material often change dramatically with nano ingredients. The properties of materials can be different at the nanoscale for two main reasons. First, nanomaterials have relatively larger surface area, which makes them chemically more reactive and affect their strength. Second, nanomaterials affect the optical, electrical, and magnetic behavior of the material. The applications of nanotechnology are found in commercial products, although most applications are limited to the bulk use of passive nanomaterials. Examples include titanium dioxide in sunscreen, cosmetics, and some food products, silver nanoparticles in food packaging, clothing, disinfectants, and household appliances. Nanotechnology is being used in developing countries to treat disease and prevent health issues. The umbrella term for this kind of nanotechnology is nanomedicine. Nanotechnology is also being applied to a variety of industrial and purification processes. Purification and environmental cleanup applications include the desalination of water, water filtration, wastewater management, and groundwater treatment. So far, no evident treatment or vaccine has been suggested for the treatment of COVID-19, except for some conventionally used medications used to improve the immune system against malaria called hydroxychloroquine. However, the interesting and surprising properties of chemical compounds, especially nanodrugs, can significantly contribute to stop the deadly COVID-19 outbreak across the world. The coronavirus structure reveals similarities with nanoparticles. The idea is nanoscale particles as small as the virus can interact with spike proteins or bind to them with the consequent disruption of the viral structure through applying electromagnetic radiation, mainly infrared light. The resulting structural disruption can suppress the ability of the virus and its genome to multiply and reproduce within a host. I am sure that Dr. Anil Palwe will throw light on how technology can be effectively used against COVID-19 using his experience and expertise in this field. I am really grateful to all the participants for their overwhelming response to this seminar, which crossed the figure of 1,000. I am confident that all academicians will contribute and cooperate to make this seminar a grand success. Before I conclude, Once again, I welcome you all for this national webinar. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your kind presidential speech. Now, I'm going to introduce today's resource person, Dr. Anil Palve. Sir is presently working as an associate professor in chemistry at Mahatma Phule AC College, Panvel. He earned postgraduate degree in organic chemistry from Department of Chemistry, Savitribai Phule University of Pune. In December 2011, he was awarded PhD degree in chemistry from University of Mumbai under mentorship of Dr. Shivram Garje. After completion of PhD, he went to Rice University, Houston, United States for his postdoctoral research. He completed his postdoctoral research in nanoscience and nanotechnology from Rice University under the guidance of Professor K. H. Whitmer. Dr. Anil Palve has published and presented 30 research articles in the journals and conferences of international repute. He also published one patent on wastewater treatment. He also published book on set examination and few textbook on chemistry. At present, he is guiding for PhD student in chemistry at University of Mumbai. Dr. Anil Palve is the recipient of different awards such as Tata Scholar by J.N. Tata Endowment and Academic Excellence and Outstanding Achievement 2011-12 honored by the American Alumni Association. So with this brief introduction of our today's resource person, I request our resource person to proceed with his session.
Thank you, Dr. Pramod Thakur sir for a nice introduction. Honorable Principal Dr. Ganesh Thakur Sahib of our college, our Vice Principal Mr. G.J. Korane sir, Mr. A.D. Adao sir, and Dr. Shivram Garje, Associate Dean of Science Faculty, University of Mumbai, who is among the participants. Also the NAC coordinator, Dr. S.L. Gove sir, for making this event successful. So the topic of my today's presentation is the reinventing nanotechnology for COVID-19. Specifically, in this particular my talk, I will divide this talk into two parts. The first part is introduction of nanoscience and nanotechnology. This introduction of nanoscience and nanotechnology is for those who are the students and the research scholars in the participant. And then I will be focusing on nanotechnology solution to mitigate COVID-19 detection, protection, and medication. So this part is totally devoted for the nanotechnology solution. So this is the deadliest outbreak and the pandemics in history. As all of us know that the Black Death in 1346 to 1353, and this was the very popular and famous, and this was the one of the deadliest pandemic in history, because the death toll is 75 to 200 million, and the cause is plague. And you know that at that time the global population was 450 million. So you can imagine that how this was the pandemic at that time. Then the second one is the Spanish flu. In 1918 to 1909, the death toll was 20 to 50 million. And the cause of this death was influenza. So this is again the second deadliest pandemic. So I will list three more because I have listed 5 most deadliest outbreaks and pandemics in history. So this is HIV AIDS 2005 to 12, and the death toll was 36 million. And the fourth one is the plague of Justinian, and the death toll was 25 million. So the fifth one is the Antonine plague, and the death toll was near about 5 million. As I mentioned that, as I listed that we have 5 deadliest pandemics in the history. But this is the situation, this is the yesterday's data for geographic distribution of COVID-19 cases worldwide. If you see the death, the worldwide, it is around 3,55,000, and the confirmed cases in the world is around 56 lakhs. And if you see the different countries like India, Italy, Spain, UK, and United States, the United States at the top position. With this brief introduction, let us start with what exactly coronavirus is, and what is the origin of coronavirus, and what exactly use information about. Initially, the coronavirus is known by COVID-19, but later on, they have given the name for this coronavirus, and the name is SARS coronavirus 2, that is severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2. If you see the structure of this coronavirus, you will find that there is genetic material inside this. We have envelope, then protein spikes are surrounded to this particular lipid layer, and generally this is known as coronavirus because coronum is the Latin term, and this means crown. That's why it is known as popularly coronavirus. Coronavirus is again of 2 types. One is the respiratory and the second one is there, but our main concern is the respiratory. And the causes of this coronavirus are common cold as well as the pneumonia. As we know that these are some general mild diseases, but some causes severe disease like SARS coronavirus, and it was started in 2003. Then MERS, that is Middle East, it was started in 2012, and this year, that is 2019 and 20, it was started in China in December 19. This is the 3-dimensional image of the coronavirus 2. So you can see here that inside this particular virus, you have RNA enclosed protein, and outer side you can see the spike proteins, and this is particularly divided by lipid membrane. I'm showing this particular slide because when we go ahead with some slides at that time, this particular membrane, I will again and again repeat this particular membrane because it is related to different tests as well as the medication of this particular COVID-19. Now these are some scanning electron microscope image of different virus. For example, this one is the H5N1 in 1957. This one is SARS coronavirus in 2002. And this one is H1N1 in 2009. And the fourth one is MERS 2012. And this image is recently published in the different articles of SARS coronavirus 2, that is COVID-19. This is also a scanning electron microscope image of the coronavirus COVID-19, and it was published by the MIT United States. Actually, by using scanning electron microscope images, generally we come to know the morphology of this particular coronavirus. But if you want to check the exact size, then we need to take the HRTM, that is high resolution transmission electron microscope. And this was also published in literature. This is the high resolution transmission electron microscope image of the COVID-19. And Dr. Basu from India noted the round shape of virus particles, some 70 to 80 nanometer in size. and a cove surface structure having envelope projection that averaged 15 nanometer in size. And this was published in Indian Journal of Medical Research. This is also a transmission electron microscope image. And here also you can see that how it looks, or what is exactly the size of this particular COVID-19. Dr. Basu mentioned that he observed the size of this COVID-19 70 to 80 nanometer. So when we have some few slides regarding the scanning electron microscope as well as transmission electron microscope, the few research scholars, they are new in this particular field, they may ask that what exactly it is, what is exactly the things, and what is nano world. For them, these are the few couple of slides. The word nano is the Greek word, and nanos, and its meaning, drop, means very tiny particle. As our principal rightly mentioned in the his inaugural speech, that it is very tiny, and due to the tiny, it is in the scale of 10 to 100 nanometer. The prefix used to describe 1 billionth of something. In the metric system, it means that 10 raised to minus 9 or 1 billionth. 1 centimeter is generally, we know that it is 10 millimeter, and generally it is known as macro word. To go below to that, 1000 micron is nothing but the micro word. And if you go below to that, then we have below to 1000 nanometer size, generally the world is known as nano world. Then what exactly the nanoscience and nanotechnology? The nanoscience is nothing but the preparing nano-size material, controlling properties of nano-size material, and nanotechnology is nothing but the visualizing, organizing, and manipulating at nanoscale level, at nano-size object. So nanotechnology is nothing but the application part of the nanoscience. As we know, the human hair has the thickness of 80,000 to 1 lakh nanometer. This is our human hairs, and this is the scanning electron microscope of the human hair. And let me tell you one thing, that COVID-19 has the size of 10 billionth part of the human hair. This slide also gives you a better exact idea about the material which are exist at nanoscale level. So you can see here that human hair, and it is in the between 10 micron to 100 micron and so on. These chromosomes, bacteria, animal cells, this lies between 1 micron to 10 micron. This is the gene. Then we have virus, different viruses, ribosomes, and the scale is 10 nanometer to 1 micron. So these are the different things actually occur, biological objects, things occur in between the range. Then we have below to that DNA bases, protein antibodies, and atoms and the molecules. As I mentioned earlier that in previous slide, that the size of COVID-19 observed is 72, greater than 70, but actually the World Health Organization mentioned the size of COVID-19 is 60 to 140 nanometer. So it observed between this particular range. And as all of you can understand, if the size is very small, to deal with such type of coronavirus at this particular size is very difficult. And that's why still we don't have any vaccine to deal this COVID-19. Then what are the different milestones of nanoscience and nanotechnology? In 1857, Michael Faraday introduced colloidal gold to the Royal Society, and at that time, the sophisticated instrument was absent, and it was not discovered like transmission electron microscope and high resolution transmission electron microscope. At that time, he mentioned this as a colloidal gold because he could not able to see the exact morphology as well as the shape of these particles. Even he found the change in the color, it looks like a reddish, so that's why it is he mentioned it as a colloidal gold. Then in 1905, Albert Einstein provided thoroughly the quantitative theory for the state of colloidal dispersion, and he was awarded the Nobel Prize in 1926. And in 1932, Langmuir established the different nanoparticles or the existence of monolayers, and he was also awarded the Nobel Prize in 1932. In 1958, Richard Feynman suggests that there is plenty of room to work at the nanoscale. Richard Feynman gave a groundbreaking speech. There is plenty of room at the bottom, and he was also awarded the Nobel Prize in 1965. Then after 1974, the term nanotechnology was coined by Norio Tanushi of University of Tokyo. This is the first evidence that this particular terminology was exist from 1974. In 1985, Richard Smalley, Robert Kerr, and Harold Kroto discovered carbon-60, and they also received the Nobel Prize in 1996. They are from the Rice University, United States, where I did my postdoctoral work. Then in 2020, hope for the best, because so many scientists are working in the field of nanotechnology and nanoscience to get the vaccine, and hope for the medicine containing gold, silver, manganese, or the targeted drug delivery for medication of COVID-19. These are the couple of basic slides. What is our basic needs? Our basic needs are food, clothes, and shelter. But right now, are these basic needs are changed, or is there any change or upgradation in the basic needs? The answer is yes. Now we have our advanced needs. Now we want better food, smart clothes, we want smart shelter. But we have not majority think about better healthcare facilities. And this is the reason that we are facing the problem right now. One World Health Organization also gave us the Sustainable Development Goals, and these 17 sustainable goals also devoted for the human health. Maximum sustainable goals are devoted for the human health. Then why this nanotechnology is so important? Because as we know that we can manipulate, we can monitor, we can tune the properties of the bulk material. This is the bulk gold and its color is yellow. All of us know because this is the ornament. But if we prepare nanoparticles of this material, at that time you find that if you go at smaller and smaller size, its color changes. So what it means that we can tune the properties at nanoscale level. Even the color of this nanogold changes with the change in the pH. This is somewhat interesting part in nanoscience and nanotechnology. So this is just one example I am putting in front of you for the research scholars. Even a couple of slides are for them. This is the variation of melting point of gold. If you go from 20 nanometer to 2.5 or around 2 nanometer, the melting point decreases up to 300 degrees Celsius. See the interesting properties of this material. When if you go from 25 to 5 nanometer scale, the hardness of the material has been increased tremendously. Then how this is possible at nanoscale level? This is the question you might feel, and how this can be done with the help of these nanoparticles. So answer is very simple and straightforward. Here is the explanation, the band gap monitoring. You can see here, this is the bulk material, and we have the band gap of this material. And if you synthesize the nanoscale material from this bulk material, so you can see here, this is the quantum dot of different various size. This is the bigger one, this is the smaller one. Again, this is the very tiny small quantum dot. And you can see the band gap of this material increase by decreasing the size. Here also you can see that the band gap increases. And due to the increase in the band gap, the absorption as well as the emission property of these material changes. Even different properties has been changed, and we can tune these properties. We can apply this particular material for several applications. So you can see here in next slide that how, if you have the smaller tiny particle, how it affect the emission property of the material. So it emits at higher wavelength. So in this way, we can tune the properties of at nanoscale level. This is the one important aspect of nanoscience and nanotechnology, because why it is so important, why this is so fascinating for all of us. You see the surface to volume ratio of the nanoparticles. Here, this is the examples I am taking to understand how surface to volume ratio has been increased at nanoscale level. So if you have the side 3, you can calculate by using simple mathematics. Surface of this particular object will be 3 raised to 2 into 6 is equal to 54, and volume is 3 raised to 3 is equal to 27. So surface to volume ratio will be 54 by 27, so it will automatically 2. You go for sides, which 2 sides at that time, the surface will be equal to 24, and then we have volume 3, and surface to volume ratio will be 3. If you go for side 1, then surface is equal to 6, volume will be 1:3 is equal to 1, and automatically you will observe that surface to volume ratio is the 6. So what this indicates? It indicates that when we go from higher particle size to lower particle size, at that time surface to volume ratio increases, and due to the surface increase in the surface to volume ratio, as we know that it becomes more active. So this is the one example, simple example, that how nanotechnology and nanoscience actually involve in application part. Suppose if you want to protect our face from UV radiations, then automatically we have some interesting nanoparticles, that is titanium dioxide and zinc oxide nanoparticles. So automatically this material has property to absorb UV radiations, and it will not transmit any UV radiation from the rays which are coming from the sunlight towards our skin. But right now in this pandemic situation, can we protect us from virus? This is the question in front of us. All world is thinking about it, how one can utilize this particular nanoscale material for different application, for specifically COVID-19. This is the one example I have given, but we have potential applications for nanotechnology in each and every field. So you can see the different various fields. Even I will say that right now in our home also, from good morning to good night, we have different things, and we are using it because of this application of nanoscience and nanotechnology. Now, to accomplish our requirement, what we need is we need the novel nanomaterials for detection, protection, and the medication of COVID-19. So next talk will be fully devoted for detection, protection, and the medication of COVID-19. So in the first, nanotechnology solutions to mitigate COVID-19 detection. As all of us knows that how initially the diagnosis of COVID-19 took place. Coronavirus is first detected in Hubei province, Wuhan, China in December 2019. Real-time polymerase chain reaction of known pathogen panels leads to negative results, suggesting that the cause of pneumonia was of unknown origin. This was little bit unexpected results, and doctors and scientists worried about this. Then it was discovered that this new pathogen had 80%, 50%, and 96% similarity to the genome of severe acute respiratory syndrome virus, then MERS and bat coronavirus. As all of us know that the virus may be found in aerosols less than 5 micron, COVID-19 virus can survive for up to 72 hours on plastic and steel, and less than 4 hours on the copper, less than 24 hours on the cardboard. I will move towards the test for detection of COVID-19. So the first test of, and which is again the generally using for detection of COVID-19, is loop mediated isothermal amplification, and it is popularly known as a LAMP test. The analysis can also be utilized on saliva samples, and it involves DNA polymerase and 4 to 6 primers to bind the target genome. After the addition of sample, the amplified DNA is identified by turbidity, color of fluorescence. The testing occurs in less than an hour. So these are the some benefit of this test, but simultaneously it has some limitations, and the limitations are the ability. It is difficult to optimizing the primers reaction conditions. So this is the schematic representation how this test carried out. These are the biological samples from the patient, and then we are applying the LAMP DNA template on this. Then after doing several things, you can see here that the real-time detection of this test can be carried out simultaneously, or we can have the fluorescence test of this particular test, or we can do the lateral flow deep test also. So this is the beauty of this test. So we can do the analysis, we can detect particular patient by using these 3 different routes. The second test is for detection for COVID-19 is antibody testing. The viral antigen and antibodies that are created in response to SARS coronavirus 2 infection can be used. This was reported by Sobino and Silva et al. In 2020 and proposed a salivary diagnosis using specific antibodies to COVID-19 virus. So this is, as we know earlier, that this is the very popular test for in our medicine, and this is the simplest one. It requires very small time. The third test, and generally which is many doctors are recommending, or the scientists are recommending right now, is test for detection of COVID-19 is microfluid RT-PCR test. Here you can see that you see the particularly PCR at that time, the substrate used in PCR is the DNA substrate. And after that, you can do the amplification of this particular DNA, but exactly in opposite, RT-PCR means reverse transcription polymerase chain reaction. It means that initially our substrate is RNA, and with the help of primers and reverse transcription, we are converting this into the DNA, and after that we are doing the amplification of this DNA, and that can be detected by using this RT-PCR test. The advantage of these tests are it requires very small specimen volume of sample, fast detection, and incorporation of a gold standard test for COVID-19. These are the few tests right now under process. So this is the one new saliva test to instantly detect coronavirus via nano inner ferrometric laser technology, and this was reported at Catalan Institute of Nanoscience and Nanotechnology in Spain. And this particular test is the ultra sensitive, and the benefit or the advantage of this test is on-site detection. So we can go at home and we can detect the particular community, whether it is spread in community at community level or not. The second E1 is localized surface plasmon resonance, that is SPR, an optical phenomenon that occur in metallic nanostructure. This was reported by Swiss Federal Labs for material science at Zurich. So these tests are under study. Then there is one famous article right now in ACS Nano, and this is also related to the test that is the rapid detection of COVID-19 using field effect transistor-based nano biosensor. First of all, I will give you the advantage and then let us see how it works. The advantage of these particular tests are ability to make highly sensitive and instantaneous measurement using small amount of analytes. Point of care testing and on-site detection also done with the help of this testing. This is ultra sensitive and low noise detection due to graphene. SARS-CoV coronavirus 2 spike antibodies conjugated to graphene sheet, which is used as a sensing area, and it has an ability. The most important application of this particular test is to distinguish between MERS coronavirus as well as SARS coronavirus 2. So this particular slide will give you the exact schematic representation of COVID-19 EFT sensor operation procedure. Graphene as a sensing material is selected here. So you can see here that this is the like samples and the just virus representation of virus over here, and this particular FET sensor and on this graphene is placed. Then this particular graphene sheet is bound to this object by using the acid as well as the ester, which is an interfacing molecule as a probe linker. So if you see in detail of this particular test, which was published in this article, you can see that the schematic diagram, then we have real-time response of COVID-19 FET towards SARS coronavirus 2 antigen, protein in PBS, and we represent the related dose dependent response curve. And here you can see that how we can distinguish the SARS coronavirus 2 as well as MERS coronavirus. So this is the totality of this particular test. So right now, these are some new innovations are taking place in nanoscience and nanotechnology to detect COVID-19. The nanotechnology solutions to mitigate COVID-19 protection. Now, World Health Organization has given us guidelines that before related to the face mask. So you can see here, before putting on a mask, wash hands with alcohol-based hand rub or soap and water. Cover mouth and nose with mask and make sure there are no gaps between your face and the mask. Replace the mask with a new one as soon as it damaged, and do not reuse single-use mask. To remove the mask, remove it from behind. I have gone through this particular slide because these particular guidelines are very important for all of us as well as paramedical staff. Now, let's see how this face mask actually actually studied, as well as how this face mask is important for doctors as well as the medical staff. The ongoing COVID-19 pandemic has necessitated use of face masks for protection. Many countries now mandate individuals to wear face masks when in public. Can homemade clothes mask or most commercial masks able to filter the COVID-19 virion? This is the question just I am putting in front of you. But small answer is there in next point, that is, although the SARS-CoV-19 particle is smaller than 0.2 micron, the water droplet carrying it are larger and largely blocked by these filters. That's why World Health Organization suggested N95 to use for doctors as well as the nurses. Then question arises that can nanoscience and nanotechnology have solution on this? So answer is yes, of course. This is the one example I am putting in front of you of Professor Mahesh Bandi. He is from India. Presently he is working at Okinawa Institute of Science and Technology, Graduate University, Japan. He has prepared one face mask by using simple cotton candy machine. When the machine begins to spin, it proceeds the polymer to generate a fabric comprising of electrocharged nanofibers. And specifically, he used polypropylene polymer in this particular, in addition to cotton. The fabric created at zero electric field will serve as the outer layer, whereas one created at 12 to 24 volt from inner 3 layers. So this particular mask again have the near about 4 layers. This layer material was then cut into 6 by 6 centimeter pieces and fold, and you can use this particular mask. Here the schematic representation how this face mask or the material for face mask has been synthesized. Then he took the scanning electron microscope image. He want to check whether it is compatible to N95 or not. Then you can see that this is the scanning electron microscope for OIST made as well as commercial N95 electrocharged layer sample. And you will notice that particular SCM image are very similar and there is not much more difference in the morphology of this fabric. Now DRDO India has launched N99 face mask. This is the very proud moment for all of us that the Ahmedabad Textile Industry Research Association and DRDO, they have come up with this very nice product. 99% filter efficiency is claimed to have the highest efficiency among the types of masks available in India, including N95. So this means that N99 is better, always better than N95. Now this is the one video clip, and in video clip I have mentioned that DRDO scientists as well as the media peoples are they are telling about the N99 face mask, and DRDO scientists itself mentioned, it might be not audible to all, but they have mentioned that N99 mask is made up of nanomesh. The N99 mask has 5 layers, and out of which 2 are nanomesh and 3 layers of clothes. Currently, the filter cloth is manufactured at state-of-the-art facility at ATI as per the World Health Organization guidelines. Its production vendor are Venus Industries and IM Tech, Kolkata. The mask cost is around 70 per pieces. Actually, this was mentioned on the website of the DRDO. It may cost a little bit higher, but this is somewhat really a very innovative steps by DRDO. As I mentioned that this is made up of nanomesh, and then somebody may feel that what exactly nanomesh is. So this nanomesh is the new inorganic nanostructure, two-dimensional material. Similar to our graphene, it was discovered in 2003 at University of Zurich, Switzerland, and it consists of a single layer of boron as well as the nitrogen. So you can see here the structure of the boron nitride, and this was synthesized by using borazine. So the precursor used for synthesis of this single layer boron nitride is borazine. This was achieved with the help of chemical vapor deposition at 1050 degrees Celsius. So this is somewhat the interesting part in N99. Then I will move further towards the face shield. Three-dimensional printed face shields that can effectively block coronavirus droplet and aerosols, which is specifically important for frontline medical professionals. Just have one video. So just watch this video.
Print and build face shields for people both at West and or at Okinawa, and we're trying to maybe 1 to 2. I'm a physicist, so when it comes to these sort of medical crises, I never really think that my expertise is very next.
So in this video clip also, they have mentioned that this is made up of some nanopolymer, and it has a very advanced effect, and we can protect our face, or even doctors and various paramedical staff, those who are at the front line, they can protect from coronavirus COVID-19. There is one more application of the nanotechnology in India. DRDO launched biosuits. Textile coating and nanotechnology has developed the personal protective equipment having the specific type of fabric with coating. Right now, steps are being taken by DRDO as well as Government of India to produce at least 15,000 suits per day. But all of you know that this is the limited number, but government and DRDO are taking their efforts to go ahead with these numbers. Now I will move towards the next, that is disinfectant, how nanotechnology can play important role in the synthesis of disinfectant. But this slide is the general slide, and it gives information about the properties as well as different disinfectant used in day-to-day life. Here you can see that alcohol-based 70 to 80% product will disrupt the lipid layer. So I have mentioned in the previous slide, the first slide, that I will use sometimes the word lipid layer and deactivate envelope viruses. So that's why the World Health Organization recommended use of 70 to 80% product which are made up of alcohol. Then quaternary ammonium compounds are another class of disinfectant that will attack the lipid structure of viral envelope and can be used in surfactant disinfectant. It also works in the similar way, same way, alcohol-based sanitizer, disrupting the virus's lipid membrane and so deactivating it. As all of us know that World Health Organization recommended two formulas. The first one is 80% ethanol, then 1.45% glycerol, and 0.125% hydrogen peroxide. And there is another formula to use this in disinfectant as well as sanitizer is 75% of 2-propanol, 1.45% glycerol, and 0.125% hydrogen peroxide. So as I mentioned that this is the RNA enclosed in protein, and this is spike protein, outermost one, and we have in between this we have lipid membrane. So if our disinfectant able to disrupt the lipid membrane, then automatically disinfectant will be the superior one, and we can deactivate the COVID-19. So this is the one example of disinfectant right now using in aircraft, because right now each and every country has started their airlines. So this is the N3-aminopropyl N-dodecyl 1,3-propanediamine. This is the simple base, and they are using this in aircraft because the reason is very simple. This is applicable for different types of material, such as on fabric, on steel, on carbon sheet, or different types of the substrate. We can use this material, and that's why specifically in aircraft this material is used. Actually, in fact, this is not made up of nano material, but just I am giving one example. But there are some disinfectant they have produced with the help of nanopolymer based material. This is the cationic polyhexyl butadiene polymer, and Frage public transport in Europe. This is the one of the best public transport in Europe. They have used this particular disinfectant for the coating of buses as well as disinfecting their buses at the transport facilities. So in this way, the nanoscience is also solving the problems during this pandemic situation. In India, you can see that we innovate biosolutions. It is the Pune-based startup supported by DST as well as DBT. They have come up with one product, and the name of the product is Silver Clean. You see the merit of this Silver Clean. It is non-alcoholic and aqueous-based colloidal solution of silver nanoparticles. So if it is non-alcoholics, then automatically it is non-inflammable. So we can use this particular material or disinfectant for specific applications because it is non-inflammable. So you can use it for in aircraft or where there is chance to have the flame. There is one more report by Dr. Vishwanath Patil, Department of Chemistry, University of Mumbai. And this study is underway. They have also studied antiviral nanocoating for PPEs as well as N95 masks. Two more studies are underway. The former director of Center for Material for Electronics Technology, that is CIMET Pune, Dr. Dinesh Amalnekar and Dr. Ravindra Chaudhary come up with the nano-based hand wash. And they have used combination of potential antiviral nanometals with aromatic medicinal herb. So these all studies are underway, and definitely we are going to get the good product with this. Now in the last couple of slides, I will be presenting on nanotechnology solution to mitigate COVID-19 medication. This is the slide I purposely put in this presentation because all of us are waiting for vaccine. And everyone is saying that why vaccines are not commercialized and how much it takes time to commercialize. I will tell you one thing, that the development of the phase of diagnostic test, phase 1 and 2 typically occur in an academic setting, while phase 3 and 4 occurs in company. So you can see that in the phase 2 as well as 3, there are so many clinical testing and trials they have to carry out, and then only the vaccine will be commercialized, otherwise not. That's why it takes a little bit time to come up with vaccine. Then Professor Thomas Webster from Northeastern University, United States, he has also promised for the medication of the COVID-19. Professor Webster is proposing particles of similar size that could attach to SARS coronavirus 2 viruses, disrupting their structure with combination of infrared light treatment. So it is not just only one approach, that is only detection. But in addition to that, he has also suggested the detection plus therapy for COVID-19. Iron-based nanoparticles could be directed with magnetic field to target specific organs in the body, such as lungs. Need to take care while doing this particular medication. There is need to take care that iron nanoparticles are not going into the brain as well as the kidney. Otherwise, there will be the adverse effect of this test. So all of you might understand that I am talking about the targeted drug delivery. Then research scholar may feel that what exactly the targeted drug delivery is. So in targeted drug delivery, nanoporous material can hold small drug molecule transporting with the desired location. And no higher dose is required for this targeted drugs delivery. The overall drug consumption and side effect can be lowered significantly. This is highly selective approach, reduces cost and human suffering. And previously, this targeted drug delivery has been potentially applicable or already applied by using iron nanoparticles and gold nanoparticle for cancer treatment. In the first presentation of our first national webinar, already there was a discussion on the hydroxychloroquine. So I will not go in detail, but I will enlighten the new article which was published in Nature Nanotechnology, and they have mentioned the insight from nanomedicine to the chloroquine efficacy against COVID-19. Chloroquine has been used in the field of nanomedicine for the investigation of nanoparticle uptake cells. Chloroquine is weak base that becomes entrapped in membrane. Synthetic nanoparticle interact with cells in the presence of chloropine may reveal mechanisms that are active at early stages prior to viral replication. They have mentioned clearly that the chloroquine also act as a drug for medication, but at the earlier stage of the virus. Then again, there is one more promise from Indian scientist, Dr. Samir Pal, a professor of S.N. Bose National Center for Basic Sciences, Kolkata, and a former professor at California Institute of Technology. He has suggested the nanomedicine for medication, that is manganese salt with citrus extract from lemon. This is the one ray of hope in India's fight against COVID-19. Nanomedicine can decrease or increase reactive oxygen species in our body depending on the situation and cure the disease. So this particular therapy is based on chelating therapy. So it is popular in the medicine. So this is the one hope from Indian side. Then the promises from the nanotechnology. So what are the different promises? What we have actually seen in a couple of my previous slides is improved and virus disabling air filtration can be possible. Low cost, scalable methods for detection of viral particles possible. Enhanced personal protection equipment, including face masks. New antiviral vaccine and drug delivery platform and new therapeutic solutions is also possible with the help of the nanoscience as well as the nanotechnology. But to date, there are no specific vaccine or medicine for COVID-19. Treatment are under investigation and will be tested through clinical trials. This was the specific statement given on the website of World Health Organization. These are the few references I have gone through for this my presentation. So these are the last few 3 to 5 last months papers which are actually exist in Nature journals as well as ACS journals. You can also go through these references. Now in the acknowledgement, I am coming to end. I acknowledge Dr. Shivram Garje, Associate Dean of Science, University of Mumbai, who is also in the participant and who is my research guide, mentor, and who teach us the ABC of nanoscience and nanotechnology. My principal, Dr. Ganesh Thakur Sahib of Mahatma Phule Arts Science Commerce College, Panvel, who has given me opportunity and share my views to all the participants. Then Dr. Kenton Wickmeyer, Associate Dean for Academic Affairs, West School of Natural Sciences, Rice University, for guiding me at my postdoctoral research. Then my principal, Dr. S.B. Pawar, he is from Sri Ananda College, Pathradi, Ahmednagar. And all my faculty members of this college, my vice principal and HOD of my department, Mr. G.J. Korane sir, for encouraging me to give the presentation on such a large scale, and the endless efforts taken by Mr. S.L. Goe, my friend, NAC coordinator of our college. So I thanks to one and all with promise of nano. And I will end my talk with the famous quote by Robert Frost. The woods are lovely, dark and deep. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep and miles to go before I sleep. Miles to go before I sleep. Stay home, stay safe. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you. Thank
for
you.
your knowledgeable presentation. With this question answer session, request Dr. Shivram Garje, who is Associate Dean, Faculty of Science, University of Mumbai, to pass comment on the today's webinar. Dr. Shivram Garje,
Hello.
please proceed, sir.
Good morning to all. My friend and principal Dr. Ganesh Thakur and today's speaker Dr. Anil Palwe and dear participants. Let me congratulate the organizing team, the speaker and the principal for nice webinar on very interesting topic which is relevant today. And the title, as you know, was reinventing nanotechnology for COVID-19, detection, protection, and medication. So speaker, he talked about all the aspects of the COVID-19, detection, protection, and medication. And I was very happy to see that he not only talk about the techniques, but the logic behind various techniques, why the techniques are used, and what is logic behind them, and all those things. So friends, human civilization has come across various pandemics in the various stages earlier, as mentioned by the speaker. But let me tell you that all the time humans have struggled and fought against all these things, and they have won all these wars, this kind of wars. So I'm sure that this current pandemic situation also we will overcome one day, and we will have some solution for that. As rightly mentioned by the speaker, nanotechnology seems to be a promising area wherein it provides various solutions. He also mentioned various applications of nanomaterials in various fields. Likewise, for the pandemic COVID-19 we'll have some solution from nanotechnology, and already quite research is going on in this field. Now, having said this, uh, let me tell you, uh, being human beings, you might have heard a tune in your mobile phone. When you dial a call, you first hear in Marathi, we have to fight with the disease, not with the disease one. That means आपल्याला रोगाशी लढायचं रोगाशी नाही. So at the same time, when we are suffering from this COVID-19, we have to remember humanity should survive. So one day we'll overcome this situation of COVID-19. At the same time, humanity should survive, and therefore we should keep that in mind. So at the end, again, I congratulate both, the speaker as well as the principal and the whole entire team of MPSC College for organizing such a nice seminar. Thank you very much. And stay home, stay safe.
Thank you, sir. We have got too many questions from the participants, out of which we will tackle selective questions. Dr. Palve,
Yes.
the first question is, what kind of precautions are taken while real-time detection of COVID-19 virus?
Actually, what type of precaution should be taken, right?
Yes.
Actually, I have mentioned that while doing the real-time detection, suppose if you are doing real-time detection by using some test, and if you are doing it at home or the public place, at that time, we have to take precaution that we should, means doctors as well as those who are going to go for test should be wear a proper mask. I will recommend it to use N99 or N95, also hand gloves, and in common public, the face shields are not possible, but doctors and others will definitely use face shield to go for real-time measurement. Suppose government is trying now to go for the test in Mumbai, right? So at that time, we have to take care of all these things.
The next question is, what are the reasons that massive testing has not started in India, which is an urgent demand in our country to control the further spread of COVID-19?
Yes, actually, this is the need of present era. In India, we should start the massive testing of COVID-19, specifically the hot areas like Mumbai and other places. Because unless and until we are not doing this test, we are not able to actually find out the exact numbers of the patients. And there is one good news yesterday that government of Maharashtra has initiated this process, and within a short time, like within this particular next couple of weeks, they have promised us to start with the community test in Mumbai.
Okay. One more question is from the participant. As COVID-19 remains on copper surface for 4 hours, can we use copper nanoparticles in treatment of coronavirus? Because earlier zinc nanoparticles were used in the treatment of SARS COVID, that is old coronavirus.
Actually, we need to do the clinical trials as well as the clinical test. Actually, there are so many nanoparticles like gold nanoparticle, silver nanoparticles. In addition to that, copper nanoparticles, manganese, and some nanoparticles which are existing in nature. Like in India, they are mentioning about the herbal medicine. So that may be possible, but for that purpose, in one of my slides, I have mentioned that we should go with some clinical trials as far as the guidelines given by World Health Organization. Then and then only we can quote that this is the nanomedicine and which is applicable or which can medicate the COVID-19 virus.
Okay. Next question is, are nanoparticles toxic? If yes, then how to carry out their toxicity
Yes.
study?
So of course there is, if you, my mentor always tell me, if you drink much more water, so water also become poisonous for our health. And so when we talk about the nanoparticles, at that time, my one slide, it was mentioned that in targeted drug delivery system, we can use the iron nanoparticle to transfer the drug towards the location. But while doing so, at that time, we should take care that these nanoparticles should not affect on our kidneys as well as the lungs as well as the brain. So this is very important aspect of particular toxic nanomaterial. Of course, few of them are very toxic, but if you use it in a very minute or in a dilute concentration, then automatically it may act as a medicine.
There is one more related question.
Okay.
How silver particles affect viruses?
Actually, nano silver is very popularly known by antiviral agent. And as I mentioned that the silver particle, when virus come in contact with silver nanoparticle, at that time we know that the lipid membrane layer, and then we have nanoparticles on that. So this nanoparticle will disrupt the lipid membrane, and automatically it will deactivate the virus by using these silver nanoparticles.
Okay, sir. One more question is, how effective will be coronavirus in rainy season? If highly effective, then what sort of measures needs to be taken?
Actually, Government of India as well as Government of Maharashtra has already started the necessary things, because you might aware that they have made the different hospitals and BKC complex area. They have planned different hospitals for for the patients. Suppose in future, in couple of weeks, if there is raining in India as well as the Maharashtra, there should be a proper care should be taken from human beings as well as community also, because the most important thing is we should at least disinfect our house by using available disinfectant, which is antiviral. Thing is, automatically the government is disinfecting the road areas. So definitely in the next couple of weeks, we should be very careful about it.
Okay, sir. I think there are too many questions. All participants are requested. We will pass on your questions to the today's resource person, and we will come up with the answers in our chat box. I request Mr. Nitin Sasani to propose vote of thanks.
Okay, sir. First of all, good afternoon to all. President of today's one-day national webinar, former Secretary of Rayek Shikshan Samstha, Adarsh Principal, University of Mumbai, Honorable Dr. Ganesh Thakur Sahib.
Sir, one question for me. One question.
Today's resource person, Dr. Anil Palve, our IQAC coordinator, Mr. S.L. Gove, Vice Principals of our college, all the participants from all over the country, and my dear colleagues. First of all, I would like to thank President of today's one-day national webinar, our Honorable Principal Dr. Ganesh Thakur Sahib, for his motivation for conducting such type of webinars in this lockdown period, and valuable guidance in organizing this one-day national webinar on reinventing nanotechnology for COVID-19. I would also like to give my big thank to today's resource person and my best friend, Dr. Anil Palve, for giving an excellent talk on topic reinventing nanotechnology for COVID-19. When we rewind the talk of Dr. Anil Palve, Dr. Palve gives an overview of current development of nanoscience and nanotechnology in overall development or this period of COVID-19, he also explained the role of nanotechnology in the detection, protection, and medication of COVID-19. Dr. Palve also give an interesting information about the development of face masks such as N99 mask, face shield. He also explained the role of disinfectant. So for giving this an excellent talk, I once again thank you, Dr. Palve, sir. Then I would like to express my heartfelt thanks to our NAC coordinator, Mr. S.L. Gove, for cooperating throughout this process of webinar. I also thankful to Professor Shivram Garje sir to present and share views on current situation of this COVID-19. I would also like to thank Professor G.J. Korane, Head Department of Chemistry, for his support and encouragement. After this, I express my heartfelt gratitude to all the participants from all over the country, because I saw the screen a few minutes before. More than 400 participants are participants from all over the country involved in this national webinar. So I express my heartfelt gratitude to all of those participants. Last but not least, I would like to thank all my dear colleagues, and with pride